All right, so welcome to Memory Mastery. This is going to be a wonderful topic, and I am excited that you're here. I'm Professor Patchke, and I work with the Ally Center, and I'm also the ESL specialist here at LBC. So I am glad that you're here in tonight's workshop. It's much appreciated that you are taking an hour of your time to spend it with me. I love that. All right. Good coffee. So I'm excited to talk to you about something that we all use every single day, but we actually don't give enough credit to it. And that is our memory. Okay. Memory mastery is not about having a photogenic memory. Okay. It's about using the right strategies to make all of our information stick. So science-based techniques like visualization, mnemonics, which we will discuss today, okay, can enhance learning because it's going to help you encode the information more effectively and then you can retrieve it faster. So in this session, we will explore advanced visualization methods, mnemonic techniques, and we're going to talk about the neuroscience behind why all this works. Okay, I'm going to give you some simple but very, very powerful techniques so that you can take control of your memory. As you know, as we age, we lose our memory. That's a fact. And we want to make sure that we keep the brain young and healthy. Okay, so there are ways that we can do this. So whether you're just out of high school or you're in your 50s, okay, these techniques work for all ages. So let's jump in and explore how we can train our brains to actually remember better and to use our memories to their full potential. Okay, so first question before we jump in. Have you ever spent hours studying only to forget what you learned either a few hours later or a few days later? Right? Okay, any hands raised? I see a lot of heads nodding. Yes, you're not alone. You're not alone. So the good news is that science has discovered effective memory techniques that can actually retain and recall information more efficiently. So we're going to test how well your memory is. Okay, let's test it. I'm going to show you a list of 15 random words on the next slide. Your task within 30 seconds is to remember them. Okay? You are not writing them down. You're just going to see if you can remember them. All right, here we go. Okay, grab your pen and paper and write down as many as you can remember. All right, 10 seconds left. All right, and stop. So how many of you remembered at least 5? You can say you got 5. Okay. All right. How about 10? I'm scrolling through all of your beautiful faces. 10. And the ones that I cannot see, if you have your camera off, just say yes or no, if you can. Any 15? You remembered all 15? Okay. All right. So let's talk about this. Oh, let me check the chat. Actually, I forgot to do that. Yes, 5. So majority of you got 5. The game worked. All right, so listen carefully. Most people recall between 5 to 9 words. This actually aligns with Miller's Law, which was created in 1956. It's a well-known concept in psychology. Miller's Law. It talks about how our brain's working memory can only hold between 7 plus or minus 2 pieces of information at one time. This activity clearly demonstrates why memory techniques are so useful, because if you incorporate them, hopefully down the line, you will at least be able to remember all 15, okay? Miller's Law, average 7 plus or minus 2 items in a short-term memory. And this is another example that the study did. They gave all these words here, and most people could only remember the words on the right, okay? All right, let's talk about another learning curve here. This is Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. This is fascinating. So let's look at this chart, okay? No matter what age you're at, let's look at this. Without any reinforcement, any memory techniques, this chart clearly shows that we forget over 50% of new information within an hour, okay? And 80% within a few days, okay? That's a lot. That's a lot. And think about all of the information that you are receiving on a daily basis at your job, in ministry, at LBC. All right. Are you actually retaining all of that information? Okay. So let's talk about what is memory. And actually, there is quite a few of you messaging in the chat. So I just want to double check and make sure I'm not missing anything. Nope. Okay. Wonderful. 5 to 7 words. That's great. You clearly follow Miller's Law. That's wonderful. All right, so what is memory? What is it? Okay, a lot of people say, oh, my memory's so bad, I can't remember anything. But memory is something we rely on every day. We need it, okay? We actually don't often stop to think about how it works, how the neuron transmitters are actually connecting. At its core, memory is the process of encoding, storing, and then recalling information, meaning you can pull it out whenever you need. Okay, if you have an answer right on the spot, you literally did not even have to think about taking the time to find which part in the brain, frontal lobe, temporal lobe, where it is, you just pulled it out. Okay, it's what allows us to learn, make decisions, and remember very important moments in our lives. So think about this. As an adult, what can you remember from your childhood? Okay. In psychology, in our counseling sessions, we talk about what can you remember as a child? What age do you begin remembering? Okay. And we also talk about typically people who have a lot of trauma in their childhood, they actually can't remember a lot. Okay. So for me, I actually did this with myself and I try to think back of certain memories. Honestly, I can't remember most of my childhood. I really can't. I don't have I don't have a lot of good memories. There's a lot of bad memories. And typically our brain, it doesn't like the negative, so it shuts it down and it puts it somewhere else. Okay. So our memory helps us make who we are. Okay. It allows us to function in our daily lives. It's how we actually create relationships, which are vital for our well-being as as God designed us to be humans. And we remember important facts, okay, from the past. No, our memory is not perfect. Absolutely not. But can we train it? Absolutely. Absolutely, we can train the brain. So we have to understand what it is and how it works so that we can actually offer insights into what might be able to make it stronger. Okay. The first way to make it stronger, okay, is going to be mnemonics. I tried to break this workshop down into important pieces so that I stay within an hour. Obviously, we're going to briefly talk about health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health. That all goes into it, but I wanted to focus on this workshop on visualization and mnemonics. Okay. So what are mnemonics? Okay. So now we understand how and what the memory does. Let's talk about mnemonics. There's 2 pieces here. Mnemonics are specific tools that help us encode and retrieve information just more easily. Okay. They work by creating certain associations between new information and something that we already know from our past. Okay. So essentially, they just make information more sticky, okay, by creating connections that are easier for our brains to retrieve. That's all it is. Okay. Simple tools. And we'll talk about at least 4 or 5 of them today. Why? Why do they work? Okay. Mnemonics work because they leverage the brain's natural ability and capacity to remember vivid, unique, and emotional energy. Okay. By turning abstract information into something more familiar in your life, like an image, something in your home, it's going to be easier to recall. So that's why I say make sure the mnemonics, when we talk about them today, make sure they're personal. Make sure that they relate to your life. Okay. One of my techniques might not work for you. All right. So typically a mnemonic, it relies on patterns, rhythms, repetition, acronyms. So let's talk about this. Here are some examples. Right. First, we have acronyms. Acronyms is when you use the first letter of each word to form a memorable word. So here's something funny, which I didn't even write this down on my screen. LBC. What does LBC stand for? L.
Lancaster Bible College.
Thank you, Tracy. Right. Lancaster Bible College, LBC. You know, when we say LBC, you know, the brain is trained. It means you know that we are referring to Lancaster Bible College. Here's 2 more that you probably learned in high school. I remember these. The PEMDAS. This is the operations in math, what you do in equations, if you ever took a math class. And then homes. Those are the Great Lakes. If you ever had to take like history or US history, you had to memorize the Great Lakes. Okay. That's an acronym, right? Then we have rhymes and phrases. This is a common spelling one in your grammar class. I before E except after C. Another one that I just remembered literally is righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay. It helps you when turning things, literally. And I still do it to this day. I don't know why. I feel like I'm at a certain age where I shouldn't be using these types of mnemonics. And literally out loud, as I'm doing things in my home, I'm like, oh, righty tighty. Haha. Okay. And then the last piece here, I wish my toolbar would go away at the bottom. It's clearing, is chunking. Okay. It's chunking. And this is, I'm going to give you an example on the next screen because it's blocking my numbers here. Chunking is when you take numbers specifically and you break them down. Okay. And I'm going to show you how this works here in a second. All right. Sorry, my presentation is being covered by my toolbar. So mnemonics works because they engage multiple parts of the brain: verbal, visual, and emotional. Okay, we want to use every single part in our brain. All right, so let's look at chunking. On the next slide, I'm going to give you a set of numbers. I want to see if you can memorize them. Okay, 10 seconds will be given on your screen. Can you memorize these numbers? Let's see if you can do it. Okay, could you do it? 10 seconds is not a lot of time. Would anyone like to share the numbers out loud? Can you do it?
Like all of them, did they have to be in order or no?
Yep, yep,
They have to be in the order they were?
yep, yep. Can anyone do it? If you can, you're bold, you're brave. I see many of you talking to yourself. You're saying the numbers. Come on now.
I think I remember the first 3, which is 274.
2749,
Okay.
58, 50.
Okay, you guys got it. I see Franklin's like, oh heck no. Oh no, I see you. I see you shaking your head. You're like, no way. All right. Let's use chunking now. Let's use chunking. I'm going to give you the numbers again, and let's see if you can do it this time. It works.
Mhm. 918, 365, 023, 274.
All right. Can you give those numbers now based on chunking?
274-918-365-023.
Fantastic. Wonderful. That's fantastic. So based on chunking, which one's easier for you? The first one with all of the numbers or separated? Which one's easier?
Separated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and think about phone numbers, how it's broken down. Have you ever noticed that when you're actually giving your phone number, no one ever, with their voice intonation, no one ever just goes from the first number to the last. They always take a breath, typically because they're chunking. That's the brain's natural way of giving information. Isn't that fantastic? All right. All right. So we did that. Let's move on here. Let's talk about another tip. This might be a new method for you. Okay. This is known as the memory palace. Okay. The memory palace technique. Okay. The method of Loki. That's how some of you might pronounce it differently. It is one of the oldest and most powerful memory strategies. Okay. It involves associating pieces of information with specific places that you know, that not everyone else knows. Okay. So basically, you can use your home, your childhood school, your work, any familiar routine that's in your life. And what you do is you mentally walk through the space and you retrieve any stored pieces of information with ease that you place there. Okay. So let's talk about this more in depth. Okay. This goes into spatial memory, the neuroscience behind it. The memory palace is located in the hippocampus. Okay. I'm not going to go into depth and show you the brain, though it's amazing to see, but all of this takes place in the spatial memory, the hippocampus. It's crucial for locating based memory. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Okay. I'll walk you through this. I want us to practice this. Okay. Using spatial memory, which is already deep ingrained within our brains, we are actually going to memorize and abstract information based on this technique. We are going to recognize and recall specific items. So here are your 3 words. Your words are banana, soccer ball, and hat. Okay? Don't write them down. Okay? I want you to choose a familiar location. Choose a familiar location in your life. What does that look like? It could be your home. So for example, I'm going to give you my example. My home. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you locations in order. You enter the front door. You have a dining room. You walk down the hall to the living room. Walk past the living room to the kitchen. Walk past the kitchen to the screen room. I just went from basically the front of the house to the back. That's my location. It's familiar to me. Okay. I want you to think of your location. Right? Now I want you to associate these 3 words in those locations. So we're at number 2, banana, soccer ball, and hat. Those are your 3 words to memorize. I want you to put them in your location, in your home, or whatever place that you chose. Your work, your church, right? So here we go. Here's an example. At the front door, a giant banana is shaking hands with my spouse as I enter. Okay? Next, as I go to the hallway, there's a magician's hat piling rabbits coming out of it on my couch. Then, in my screen room, there is a soccer ball bouncing in the planter. Okay? Random stuff. I know it's so odd. Okay? But I just gave 3 words that I had to memorize maybe for my course, but I put them in my retrieval box. Okay. I put them in my familiar location. So I want you to do the same. Okay. I'll give you about 30 seconds. Place those 3 words in your location and make it so random. Add humor, add visualization. It helps. The goal at the end of this workshop is to remember those 3 words. Okay.
Since I'm just joining, I'm just would love to have those 3 words.
Yes, okay. And I will send out this workshop for you to actually utilize. So don't you worry.
All right.
You came in at an odd time, probably said when I said there was a giant banana shaking my husband's hand. All right. All right. So keep that story in your mind. Okay. But let's move on because after that, at the end of this workshop, we're going to come to number 4 and we're going to retrieve all these words. We're going to see if you can do it. And you're lucky. I only gave you 3. Typically, we do about 6 to 7 and we create a whole story. Okay. This is your memory palace. Keep it there in your hippocampus and tell yourself you're going to keep it there. All right. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about songs and rhymes. Our brain naturally loves music. Okay. Studies have shown that even while playing classical music, while writing, while studying, it creates this neurotransmitter connection in the brain. Okay. Music and memory, they share overlapping neural pathways. Okay. If you've ever done research in psychology and watched an MRI happen while they played music in the background, on the MRI screen, it lights up. The brain is actively more engaged. That's fascinating. So here's some examples about rhythm and rhymes and songs that we've learned as a kid. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Okay, that's common. Think about the alphabet song. Are you singing it in your head right now? What song is the alphabet song to?
Twinkle, twinkle.
Yes, it's to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. When I was in high school, for extra credit in math class, my teacher said, hey, if anyone learns the first 100 numbers of pi, 3.14, you get extra credit. So guess what I did? I learned 100 numbers. I don't know why I did that, but I got an A in the class. And I still sing it to this day. That was probably 20 years ago. And I will sing 3.14159, and I will sing 100 numbers. That's amazing. Okay. All right. So musical connections, they overlap in your neural pathways. It's not dumb. Incorporate some little jingle to whatever you have to learn, whether it's something in a theology course, a business course. Trust me, your professors are going to say, wow, that's fascinating. All right. Let's look at an overall analysis of what we call cramming and spaced practice or spaced repetition. Okay. When it comes to learning and memory, people often rely on cramming. Okay. Which means you are studying all hours into a packed day. Or I've had students tell me to even like yesterday, a student says, hey, I got a paper due. Oh, I just started it. It's due in about 4 hours. That's wonderful. Okay. Good luck to you. Okay. That's cramming. Space practice. Okay. Oh, let's go back. One more thing. Cramming. Why do people cram? Briefly, they procrastinate and run out of time. It feels productive in the moment. Typically, overachievers or people pleasers love to cram. They love it. Okay. And it does work for short-term recall. So if you have to go take a test, what do? You cram, 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 and you try and memorize everything. You get to the test done. Did you recall anything? Did you actually learn it? No. It's not stored anywhere in your hippocampus. All right. So that's cramming. Space practice or space repetition it involves reviewing information over increasing intervals. So look at this, for example, here. On your left, I put study hours, and on the bottom, I put your days. Okay. Cramming is the blue. Oh, look, by day 6, something is due. Cramming, I'm going to do it day 6. Okay. You can say, I got this. What is suggested, what is recommended is over a certain day period, you begin studying. Doesn't have to be at the same time. Doesn't have to. Start with 10, 15 minutes. All you do is review the notes. So let's say you have a major theological paper coming up, okay? Probably in week 7, many of you have big papers. Or you're in LAN 100, 101. You have an expository paper, flip-flop essay, whatever that looks like, okay? What you're going to do is, starting now, you're going to start reviewing the module PowerPoints. You're going to review that final It's going to tell you the syllabus, what is due on that paper. And after every class session each week, you're going to go back and maybe watch bits and pieces of what the professor said. Okay. You are going to distribute information over multiple days. Why does spaced repetition work? It strengthens the neural connections. Okay. Which then makes recall a lot easier. Right. It also does promote deeper understanding and long-term retention, which is what we want. You're paying a lot of money to come to school. We want you to actually retain the information. Okay. All right. So this is what spaced repetition looks like. Here's an example in action for you as a student. Day 1, you learn a new concept, whatever that is. Okay. The next day, day 2, you're just going to review it briefly. Take 10, 15 minutes. Just review it, read over it. You're not taking any notes. Okay. Day 4 is when you quiz yourself. So yes, day 3, day 5, day 6, you're just going to review it briefly. But day 4, quiz yourself out loud. Talk to yourself out loud. Okay. Day 7, review everything again, but in depth. Then everything after that. So day 14, 30, whatever that looks out, space everything out over time. Okay. So think about your college days here at LBC. Whatever that first course that you took when you came into LBC, we want you by the end of your time here, we want you to at least say, hey, you remember that course, FAS 100? You remember that? Oh, wow. Remember that one thing that we did there and I learned how to do? Okay. Because a lot of times we ask students, hey, what do you remember from your college days? And they can't remember majority of what they learned. Okay. So this is kind of like an example of a spaced repetition in action. Okay. I'm going to let some more people in here. And I'm going to take a break and check the chat. Nothing. Okay. All right. So let's keep going here. Okay. We are at the point in time where we need to go back to that method of Loki and we need to go to our memory palace. Okay. Your memory palace. I asked you to remember 3 words. I know my 3 words because my story was crazy. All right. So would anyone like to give and recall the 3 items in the order that you placed them? Can you remember whatever location that was? Can you walk us through how you placed them? Maybe share the story of how you did it and what were the 3 words?
Mine was just, it wasn't as silly as yours,
Okay.
but we played soccer in the yard with my daughter. She played soccer. So,
Yeah.
and we always ate bananas outside. So I was eating a banana playing soccer in the yard with my daughter, and I always wear a hat in the sun.
Look at that.
But it wasn't as
Wonderful.
silly, but yeah. So I
No.
see how, if you put it to something you can remember,
Yes.
it just,
Yes.
it drew it right back.
Yes. So I used humor, but you used actual daily life things. Like it's
Mhm.
natural to you, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Anyone else? Any story that helped you remember? How did you remember your 3 words?
I did mine.
Okay.
I came in the house and put down my hat,
Okay.
and then I picked up the soccer ball for practice and took a banana out of the kitchen with me.
All right. There you go. I love it. Let me check the chat. I've got something coming in. Yes. Had at the basement. Okay. Banana in the kitchen, soccer in the backyard. Wonderful. All right. Anyone else would like to share?
Mine was just simple. The monkey was eating a banana while playing with the soccer ball, wearing a hat.
Yes. See, there you go. It's simple as that. And we only started with 3 words. We can actually up those. Okay. And this, the memory palace, okay, this works in every situation. Okay. It can work in every type of course. It can work if you're a pastor, a preacher, or you're leading a study group. You can actually do this with your notes, your sermon notes. You can do this with remembering people's names. Okay. You can do this with remembering your kids' birthdays, which I still struggle to remember my 2 kids' birthdays. I don't know. They've only been alive for like 2 years. Okay. All right. Anyone else have a story of how you remembered your 3 words? Because we're going to move on to a reflection here.
I
My
Yes.
husband usually
my-
said, on your way home, grab the bananas. And then I forgot my hat downstairs. And then one of the kids left a ball on my way. Please kick it out.
Yes.
So,
Wonderful. Thank you, Paula. All right. I heard someone else sharing. Want to give you the chance as well, too. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I'm scrolling through all your beautiful faces. We've got so many people here. Hang on. Who is speaking? Can you let me know?
Juliana is speaking.
Juliana.
Yes. So I put on my hat to go out with a soccer ball.
Yes. Hat, soccer ball, and one
Um,
more. One more.
the last one.
The fruit that we eat. A yellow fruit.
Yeah, banana.
Yes. There you go. Wonderful, Juliana. Wonderful. Okay. All right. I do not want to get into other aspects that do help with memory. I am considering doing a workshop like part 2 on memory, on actual why walking, if you can walk, okay, why it's beneficial even to get outside, how to maintain your mental, your spiritual health, your physical health, why that all is important in your memory, okay? All right. Let's see. I'm going to go and scroll to the next slide. I have a bunch of questions for you. Okay. I want to give you the chance to speak, to collaborate with other students. So some questions for you. What was the most surprising thing that you learned about memory in this workshop?
That we
Number two, which memory technique do you think will be most useful for you and why? So either write these down or take a picture. Which activity
I,
helped you the most, and why do you think that is? And what is
I
one
think
memory technique that you will commit to trying this week? Okay, so take a picture, write these down. Someone is saying I should do a second class. Yes.
yeah.
I should probably do another webinar, a follow-up on more on memory, right? All right, I'll give you a chance to write
um,
these down or take a
pro,
picture. I'm going to
pro,
put you into groups. Yes, someone said professor. Yes?
yes, the chunk method of memorizing is so good because even
Mm,
from the beginning,
mm.
even though the words were together, I try to break them in fours
Yes,
so that I can grab them easily.
exactly. You're absolutely right. That is very helpful, isn't it? All right, I'll give about another 30 seconds here, and then I will put you into groups. Okay, again, there's so much more that we can get into with memory, learning style, okay, preferences. There's a lot that we can get into, which I will probably discuss in part 2, because apparently you all are saying there should be a part 2. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, are we ready to move into your breakout rooms? I want to give you the chance to discuss with different minds, okay? And in your groups, share your name, okay? Maybe share how long you've been at LBC, okay? It's a great way to establish wonderful, godly relationships. I know it's hard in the online space to feel like there's a lot of connection. All right, ready? Scream, thumbs up, nod head, something. Do something. All right, wonderful. I'm going to put you into groups and I will give you at least 10 minutes. Okay, there's 4 questions here. I want to give everyone the chance to speak. Plus, we have a lot of you here. So let's see. Got a lot of you. I need to make a lot of breakout rooms here. Mhm. All right, I want to make sure that there's a good number in each group. All right, go ahead and join. I'll give you about 10, 12 minutes here, and I'll be checking in on you as well, okay? Go ahead and join.
What are we doing? We join now?
Oh, Juliana, yes, go ahead and click join. It should pop up on your screen. You should see there you go. Okay. All right, wonderful. Angel, go ahead and join. Your group is waiting for you. Wonderful. All right, at this point in time, I am going to join the breakout rooms. There are quite a few of them, so it is going to definitely take me at least 10-15 minutes to get through all the breakout rooms. At this point, I'm going to mute myself and stop my video. If you're watching this, you can go ahead and click through this till we get to the end part of the session here. All right. Hi, Shwana. Hi.
My computer shut off. Wow,
Oh
yeah,
no.
I was in room 5, I think it
You're
was.
okay. All right, let me put you back in. I was wondering if you were already here in this session or not. Let's see. Room 5. Yes. All right. Let me move you. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Are we still in the
And
same room?
what-
Maybe nobody's here yet. I'm thinking that could be. Maybe we're the only two back. I don't know.
Okay, it could be. It could be. I'm just going to stay put for a moment until the others come back in. And I don't know how the breakout room works with this. It's not the system that I use. But
Now, do you do online classes or?
I do some classes online, very few. Most of the classes I'm actually going into community centers and some schools to do that. Oh, there we are.
Nice.
We're not alone.
Now you're in the main session. You're not in your breakout room anymore. So that's okay.
Okay.
You just
We
say,
weren't sure.
I'm gonna go check on all the groups.
Now, this is what we were confused about. We didn't know if we had more time.
Oh, you've got plenty of time.
Oh,
Okay, we'll just hang out here then.
Yeah,
if that's
just
all
hang
right.
out right here. No one's gonna join.
all right. No worries then. Yes, we can talk more. We can chat a bit.
Yes. So you do online then?
I
Like-
do some online courses, but I also do a lot of courses. And the thing about I say a lot of because I only teach 2 classes a year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do one with my community center. That's an 8-week course, actually. And then I do one where I do I can go out and do things as well. And if they've got to I let someone else kind of work that out if it's going to be something different. But I do classes for the government. I do Toastmasters and all of those sorts of things. And so I will come in to these different agencies. I've had members of Congress in my class.
Oh, wow.
So I've had people who, yeah, and I've worked for the whole of states for many years. And that's all I can say. But anyway, you want to protect them. You don't want to. Yeah,
Yeah.
but and I have to do well not to lose it with some of the people that's been in my classes and the people who have sorted me out to come and help them with their public speaking. And it's an
Wow.
honor. It's an honor. One of the things that I say all the time, Tracy, is this. I say, I get to do it.
Yeah.
Because there are times when there's a lot to do. And I say, I got to go teach a class. Well, see, that's for someone who doesn't appreciate the manna that we've been given, you know, and
Yeah.
we have to understand that we've been given these wonderful opportunities to teach, to do the things we love to do. I believe the position I have now is post-retirement, working at the Bible. And I get to work in this beautiful building with these beautiful people. I get to come in and pray with someone. Whomever comes in to our establishment, they're not subject to us, but they are in many ways just coming and just surrendering. And they want prayer and they want to talk about these different things, but they are approaching us. And I get to say, may I pray with you?
That's wonderful.
I get
Wow.
to say that. So when we
Yeah.
change our conversation from I got to I get to, we
Yes.
are truly in a realm where we are understanding the blessings that the Lord has set before us.
Yes. Yes.
What a
Yeah.
wonderful table it is. You should come
Yeah.
in someday, do a field trip. I'll make sure you get passes to come in.
Where where is this that you normally?
Washington, D.C.
Wow. Wow.
I don't
That's
live in
awesome.
Washington. I don't live in Washington, but I work at the Museum of the Bible. I'm an LHI, as I discussed. And so, of course, we get to talk about the Gutenberg Press, how this book, this great book, was actually
Wow.
mass produced.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people have me in the schools and their children's schools. I come and I visit if I'm called. I come on out and I talk about the Gutenberg Press. I talk
That's-
about Nazareth, first century Nazareth, and the time that Jesus Christ walked.
Wow.
So
That's
these are
really
some things.
exciting.
I
Yeah.
get to do this fun job.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wonderful though. Now,
It
how you
is.
said you were a teacher before?
Yes, I've been a teacher for 40 years, an educator, I consider myself. And
Okay.
so I started off early infant and childhood education. I was young and I said, what can I do that I love? I love to teach. And so I went abroad because it was a way of getting out of work here. My parents had a pastry shop and I was going to be working for free. I could travel the world. Let's see,
Yeah.
what
Oh,
would you
that's
do, my dear? So I
exciting.
traveled the world and I decided that every year I was going to a different country. And I
Oh,
did just
wow.
that.
Wow.
All of that leveled out once I started having children, lovins, I call them, all of my lovins.
Wow.
And yes, but even with that, I'm so blessed. I've got 20 grandchildren.
Gosh, I can't even
Imagine that.
imagine.
Oh my
I
gosh, it's so wonderful. I'm so
I
spoiled.
have one. I have one grandchild.
You do, right?
My first one, my daughter lives in New Hampshire,
Yeah.
and my grandchild's 7 months old, little
Oh,
boy.
wow.
So,
Oh,
it's just so,
congratulations.
thank you. It's so
Ah,
exciting. So,
I'm
so
telling
exciting.
you. I remember my first one. I do. She's 20 some years old now. But
Wow.
and I am a great grandma. I have two great children. I'm telling you, I
Wow.
am living the life of Raleigh. I will tell you now. I
Wow.
am. I'm so blessed. You know, if I leave this earth and you hear about it, you will say she was blessed.
Yeah.
I know her. I talked to her, and I know she was blessed. You see?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
But I am getting a chance to get paid doing everything I love. I get to write my own scripts.
Wow. Yeah,
I
sounds
get to
exciting.
teach. Listen, I get to learn there. I am
Yeah.
learning. I'm an avid learner. So I think all educators should be those people who are never an ex-educator.
Right. Right.
Because
Yes.
as long
Yes.
as we're learning, we're willing to teach.
Yes. Yep. Yep. No, that's exciting. Wow.
It
Yeah.
is. It's
Very,
a
very
great life.
exciting.
It's a great life. And listen, it's really funny. I'm a little lady and I live in a teeny weeny little house here. It's not a teeny house, but it's not a little house, but it's a
Yeah.
teeny little house. It's just enough for me.
Mhm.
Everything is paid for. I don't have to pay for anything anymore. That's over with.
All right, so I have confirmed everyone is ready to come back to the
Well,
main
come on in. We're
today.
ready. We're happy to have you.
Yes. All right, I just gave them 60 seconds to
All
leave
right.
groups.
We've been having a ball here.
Mm,
I
that's
learned about Tracy and that she's married, she's got children.
wonderful.
Second class here.
Yes, second class here.
She's in the
Yes.
second class.
Yeah.
I had you with the first one. I was using you for the tutoring, if you remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I wanted to see how did you make it through with that course?
Oh,
With
it
your
was
video
great.
Oh,
Yes, it
Okay.
was really good. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, are
Yep.
you actually implementing that presentation, that teaching method, that mock trial? Are you implementing that in your life?
Not yet, because we
Okay.
have during Lent, we're doing special things at the church. So,
Yes.
but yes, I do plan on doing that. I do.
Great.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
a lot of hard work.
Yes.
All this cover,
Yep.
honey. I don't know what kind of life you live.
All right. Let me just check and make sure we are all back. Actually, no, I'm waiting on about 10 more people. All right.
That's a lot of
Welcome back. How are the group conversations? How
That
are
was
they?
so awesome. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so clearly, I'm gonna let you tell me, put it in the chat because it wasn't on my to-do list, but I think I'm gonna have to make it on my to-do list. Put in the chat, 1, no, do not do part 2 workshop on memory, or 10, yes, let's do it. I'm ready. And I
Yes.
will try and get a workshop set up here. The Ally Center does about 4 to 5 workshops a month, okay? All ranging in topics. I focus on typically social emotional well-being, psychology, mental health, and how it relates to our academic and spiritual growth. And my colleagues really, they focus on MLA writing, reading strategies, comprehension. So we've got a great team. All right. So I encourage you to check out all the workshops that we do. I'm just going to see what is going on in the chat. Okay, let's do it. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, I'm shaking my head. No, that's horrible psychology. I should be saying yes, yes, yes. Let's do it. All right. All right, wonderful. I hope you enjoyed tonight's session. I mean, how can you not love the brain that God created? It's unfathomable actually how it works. All right. So before we leave, will anyone like to explain one of the topics that you will try using in one of your courses or your life? Maybe you're going to try it with your spouse or a friend and say, "Hey, I want to remember this," or "I want to practice this." Any technique, memory technique that you plan to use?
I can speak about it.
Absolutely.
Yes. So all of these things I already use.
Mhm.
But what I will use with a new group that I've just gotten is, of course, writing the music. And of course, things such as that. So we'll do the music because we have small things in their skits, in their presentations that they'll have to remember. So I will do that. One of the things that I do now is to put everything in a story form.
Yes.
So I make whatever the story is. A lot of times they've got to do monologue, and the monologue is actually something that I do as if it were my life.
Yes. It's a great
Talking
practical
to yourself.
application.
Mm.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that technique. Anyone else that you will say, yes, this, I really liked it in today's session. I'm going to try and use it. Anything?
Yes,
Learning a
the
new
story.
concept at a time.
Yes, Juliana, go ahead. And then Tracy, go ahead. Go ahead, Juliana.
Okay, I say, the spaced repetition method.
The space
Learn a
repetition.
bit, you review, you give
Yes.
yourself a quiz and see you
Yes.
can get it. If not, you go back to it again and review. And
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that's
Space. Yes. Try and review the notes every day. Yeah.
okay.
Yes. Okay, Tracy, and what was your
I
technique?
was going to say the story. Just
Okay.
reinforcing Princess was reinforcing the story. I think that one's going to help me.
Right. And so let's say if you use the story, which that's the memory palace, like many of you actually said in groups you want to use that, right? So the words or the vocabulary words that you will take to memorize, like in a theology course, hermeneutics, you have to memorize what that is. You have to memorize scripture, okay? And many
Prayers.
courses,
Creed.
you need to write down these words and place them in your hippocampus. Place them in a story. Okay, maybe you're going to pretend like you are the teacher and you are going to talk about hermeneutics. You're going to talk about theology. Okay, utilize them and give a practical application. Okay, that's a great way to use a story. All right, anyone else before we head out? We've got 5 minutes, but we're going to end early.
The memory palace was
You like that one?
very fruitful for me, yeah,
Mm.
because the three words, hat, banana, and the soccer ball, immediately I went back into my childhood, the home that I grew up in, and I
Wow.
visualized where we kept the hats,
Mm-hmm.
where the bananas would have been kept,
Mm.
and the fact that we couldn't play soccer in the house.
Mm.
On the way out the back kitchen door to go in the backyard
Mm.
is where the soccer ball would have been.
Mm-hmm.
And I can
Now,
just I can imagine me associating many different things
wow.
in that particular setting.
Amazing. So I'm going to assume if you came back to that childhood memory, can you actually visualize your home, that childhood home? What color was it? Where was the brick? Were there pillars on the porch? Can you visualize it?
It was a brick row house. There was a front wooden porch. There was two pillars flanking the staircase. There was another pillar off to my left as I'm walking up the steps. I walk in the house. To my right was the steps going upstairs.
Yeah.
To my
Yeah.
left was the living room.
Yeah.
I kept straight through to the kitchen and made a right, which is where we would go downstairs.
Amazing.
On the
Amazing.
wall.
Wow.
Coats and hats.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Ronald, I just got chills because I'm following you. Okay.
Yeah.
You just walked me and the class through your childhood home. Now,
Absolutely.
what you just did is you took your memory and you took piece number 3. You just retrieved memory that typically you wouldn't even think about. But because I gave you 3 words, you automatically associate those words to a random childhood memory. And now you just retrieved information from years ago.
Yeah.
And your brain, I can guarantee if we looked at a brain scan, it's loving it. It's probably lighting up like, wow, look at this fun memory. And now tonight, you're going to remember those 3 words. And you might actually have a dream about your childhood house or memory. You are probably going to start recalling various pieces of information. So that's fascinating that you just did that. That's wonderful.
In fact, when we get off this call, I think I'm gonna have a banana.
That's wonderful. All right. Yes, the brain naturally, it loves this. Okay. Reverend just put in the chat, this is what my brain automatically does. It loves it. It thrives on it. But like I stated in the introduction, we really don't give it enough credit. And that's why we see a lot of people in their older age, or if they have some type of autoimmune disease, they begin to lose memory.
Memory.
And we can retrain it. We can build it. All right.
Amen.
So thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for giving me an hour of your time. Okay. I hope that you use some of this information. You can always reach out and let me know. Say, hey, this worked, professor, or hey, this didn't work. Let's redo something here. I would love to hear from you. Clearly, based on the feedback, we are doing another one. Okay.
Amen.
All right. Have a great week 3. Okay. And I hope that you implement some of these strategies. Yes. Shalom, everyone. Have a great week
Shalom.
3.
Amen.
Have
you.
God bless
Okay.
every one of you.
And,
God bless. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
guys.
thank you.